everyone, it's Wonderful Wednesday and Words of Wisdom. Well, today being August 19th, actually it is National Patient Advocacy Day. And what we have depicted about the topic today is knowing the importance of raising our voices to advocate for our own and our senior loved ones' health care. So, what we're going to talk about is National Patient Advocacy Day highlights the vital role of self-advocacy and supporting senior loved ones in the healthcare system. Navigating medical care requires active participation to ensure safety, dignity, and proper treatment. To help you share this important message or prepare for upcoming medical situation, please know to 1. Create a printable checklist for senior doctor appointments. Also, explain how to find a professional independent patient advocate. I just was doing a church group, support group, and that's what I had mentioned to one of the participants that were there regarding his wife who has dementia. And she presents very well when she goes to the doctor's appointment, but typically at home, sometimes she's just not herself. There might be an underlying reason medically, but it's really putting stress on the caregiver, the husband. So I had mentioned, as I do to a lot of my clients, is before you go to your next appointment with your loved one or schedule one that you need to have sooner than later, is actually to produce a journal. On each day, good, bad, and indifferent, write in a journal book as to what the day's activities were like with your loved one. May it, like I said, good, bad, or indifferent. So this way, when you collectively put that together, it's a whole picture for that doctor to review. But I recommend not bringing with you the journal to the appointment, is to fax it over, drop it off, make that doctor aware that you have produced some information for him or her to review prior to the appointment. So this way they're educated on that your loved one's disease process, really emotions, behavior, anything of that sort. So this way it can be addressed, because honestly, most seniors present very well. I really compare it to going to the principal's office. Those 15 minutes you're there with the doctor presents very well. So that printable checklist I agree with as well too, is things to discuss. But for those ones that are having complicated issues, that with dementia or really caregiver stress, I can't bring it out or stress anymore that you really should do a journal. And it's really therapeutic for that of yourself, but you're really advocating for your loved one and giving a broad view, like a 360 view or a topical view of your loved one prior to the appointment. Finding a professional patient advocate. I know myself as an senior care advocate. I do fight for my clients' services, rights, and all. But there is what they call care managers that can oversee your care and actually have that discussion with your loved one. Also, guardians, professional guardians are good patient advocates. Ones that are a little bit more maybe clinically involved or educated is a good one to have. So again, somebody speaking on your behalf. Remember, going to the hospital in an emergent situation, especially for somebody that has dementia, and if they're going there alone, they're not a good historian. So what's coming out of them as far as verbal indications is not giving the doctor and the nurses in that emergency room a good view as to really what's going on with the senior client, or senior patient. So again, being an advocate, and when that patient does go to the emergency room, that's what's great about senior living. They give a whole synopsis, a whole diagnosis, and of the activities of their loved ones, of their residents, and also usually a typical report as to why they are going to the hospital. So senior living is great in this aspect. They're great advocates for our senior loved ones too. The key pillars of patient advocacy: ask questions, clarify diagnoses, treatment risk, and alternative options. Just because you do have a diagnosis, there's staging to diagnoses as well. How the severity of the diagnosis is what actually on my treatment. If I'm going to be taking these medications, or my loved one is going to be taking these medications, what are the adverse events to it, or adverse activities, or risks to it? So that you want to ask. And is there alternative options? Is there a holistic treatment plan? So a doctor, remember, practices medicine, and when he prescribes or she prescribes a medication, or really wraps themselves around your diagnosis and to treat it, they expect you have a conversation with them and explain to you the details of your diagnosis, and also what other options there are for you. If you don't ask, you don't know. So that's great that you have this discussion with your family before going to the appointment, so you can ask questions. But more importantly is for your senior loved ones, if they are so emotionally involved or they have dementia and they can't ask questions, you're going to be asking for them. That's where the POA status comes very, very handy, power of attorney and healthcare surrogate. So this is some great advice for you to have to really be a good patient advocate. And also is to keep records. Maintain a centralized file of medication, test results, and histories. I have a binder. Yes, I have a diagnosis, but honestly, what I kept on even my parents as their POA and healthcare surrogates, yes, they were in senior living, but I kept records of everything, of their diagnoses, their medications, some test results, and a lot of their histories. Honestly, when they go to the hospital, yes, some paperwork goes with them, but some of it might be missing. Are they a DNR? Are they not a DNR? Do not resuscitate. Do they have a living will? So that's something as for your loved one, senior loved one that's going to the hospital, is to have that information on you. It's always great to have a binder and keeping records of you being a POA, and that you are a voice for them, that you can speak on their behalf, is very important. Track medications. Note dosages, purposes, and potential side effects or interactions. This I can't stress enough. You could look into a senior's medicine cabinet or pill box, and they might have been expired, or they're not taking it. That's something you really want to track, that they are dosaging correctly, or not missing dosages, and what are the side effects. The good thing is really talk to a pharmacist. You might have multiple doctors that are prescribing medications to you. So what great thing is for the pharmacist to look at it as well, or your nucleus, which is your internal medicine doctor, to look at it, because some of those medications interact with one another, and there could be really bad potential side effects to it as well too. So honestly, sometimes medicine can't work that good because something else is interacting with it. So track those medications. There's with them taking, senior loved ones taking medicines on their own, that's something that there needs to be oversight on. Great thing in senior living, medication is not administered, but it's given to your loved one as a resident, and it is explained to them what medicine they are taking, and they're observing that they're taking it, making sure they're not pocketing it and actually taking it, and then it's noted. Do they have a right to refuse? Yes, but then it's notated. So there's a record of it as well too, and there is no room for mistakes because everything is electronically as a record as well. Bring support. Take a trusted family member to take notes during appointments. Like I said, prior to the appointment, you want to keep that journal. You also want to take notes at the appointment for your senior loved one. Okay, we're going to do this next step. This is the next test. This is the next appointment. This is a new prescribed med. I have to go and pick it up. All those things are a great thing to really journal too with that appointment on that particular day, so you can keep record of it and refer back to it, but having somebody that is there to support your senior loved one at a doctor's appointment is very, very vital. Again, in senior living, there is a great opportunity to have a mobile physician that actually comes into the community. Honestly, they never have to dress up for an appointment. They could be in a relaxed comfort of their own comfort clothing. This provider may be a doctor or a nurse practitioner is coming to see them in their environment, and all notes are being documented in their central system at the senior living. The visit, what was discussed. So a lot of the times, if your senior loved one lives in a different state, you can access that information in your senior living home or community that your loved one is in. So yes, bringing notes is great, but this is something that is done on a regular basis in senior living. Secure permission. Set up formal legal framework before health crises occur. Absolutely. Power of attorney only can be granted if your loved one doesn't have a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's, because they are not in their right mind to make those decisions, especially financial decisions. So having those permissions prior to that diagnosis of being a POA or healthcare surrogate. Quite honest with you, I always put myself into it. We have depicted that a long time ago, because there might be a point that my husband and I, we could be in an accident and we're not able to function and actually speak for ourselves, where our children can. So that's a very important thing, is to have that for you and to protect you, but also to be there for you in your time of need. So that, again, for senior loved ones, make sure it's way before that dementia diagnosis. Essential legal tools for seniors. Healthcare proxy. Designate a trusted person to make medical decisions if needed. That's also what we call a healthcare surrogate. So that is important, and do that on a really early basis. Don't wait till it's imminent when they do have a very severe diagnosis or they have a diagnosis of dementia. Then they can't make that decision. Living will. Outline specific preferences of end-of-life care and life support. That's where a DNR comes in. That's also what depicts if you don't want to have any end-of-life measures to you at the end of life or support. But having a living will, meaning these are my advanced directives and this is what I want. Again, I put myself into it. We have done this a long time ago because we're in the right mind and spirit now to do that. So it doesn't have to be the burden on our children or our people that we leave behind. So a living will is important. Again, it's got to be done before a diagnosis of dementia. HIPAA release authorizes doctors to share medical updates with chosen family members. Again, it's not only doctors, it's nurse practitioner, whoever is your provider. A HIPAA release is preserving your medical records. And when you go to a doctor, that's one of the forms that you do fill, or a provider that you fill out, is who can we release these records to in your absence or you're not able to. They ask specifically who those people are. And you could label your POA healthcare surrogate. There might be, every family has it. There might be certain individuals in your family that you do not want those records to be released to them. That's your business and that's your choice. But put that down now, more importantly than anything else. That could be something that could be notarized, but each doctor's office makes sure every time you visit that your HIPAA records release forms are up to date. If not, ask them. I'd like to update my HIPAA release forms, okay? But as being the POA, if you've been depicted, you have that right to also exclude those that you no longer want those records to go to, okay? That your senior loved one depicted you as being their voice. As always, thank you for viewing WOW, which is Words of Wisdom. I hope this was helpful information for you and your senior loved ones. And really, today is a day for patient advocacy. It's National Day, but guess what? Every day should be patient advocacy. So not only for yourself, but for your senior loved ones. Next week on WOW, which is August 26th, the last week of August, can't believe it, that the next day is going to be called National Just Because Day. It is to celebrate, embrace spontaneity, and perform random acts of kindness without needing a reason, and how our senior loved ones would love this day for a long time to come. So let's really have fun with that day, and it's the day before, so you can plan the next day with your senior loved ones or anyone in your family and friends. Next Tuesday talks, which will be August 25th. Since August is Medic Alert Month, those are the electronic systems as well too, or devices. How can we be assured that our senior loved ones are safe and receive the proper emergent care? As always, I lead you to my website, which is www.goldenruleseniorplacement.com. There you will find my demographics, my bio, along with testimonials, various options on senior living, resources, and the 2 libraries of One Tuesday Talks for the last 8 years, and also the library for the last year for WOW, which is Words of Wisdom. Please peep on those. There's different topics that you could view back in time. There's also links to my social media too. Thank you, as always, viewing WOW. I hope these were good words of wisdom for you and your loved ones, and have a blessed day. I'll see you next week for Tuesday Talks. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye now.